Hey, welcome wherever you are coming in from. My name is Calvenn Starre, and you're joining us for the webinar series called Advancement in Leadership. And it's a series on the book, The Disciplined Leader by John Manning, which you can see there on your screen. Pick it up, follow along here. We've got 52 weeks to process and integrate this information. And this is a powerful thing for people that are in network marketing. I actually came across John Manning and his company called MAP. And it's about management and it's consulting and it's about teaching people how to run organizations and companies. It's the CEOs, the COOs, and that executive leadership that John really caters to. And so I took that course years ago when I first got into the corporate side of network marketing, and it helped me tremendously. And I came across John's book recently, and I thought this is a great opportunity to take the information. And since I've got the background for distributor, affiliate, and also corporate, I thought, let me take this information, which is kind of written in a corporate context, but really translate it for network marketing and being an affiliate, and most importantly, a leader in your organization. Because you're going to need to be able to lead people in your business to achieve things that they have never achieved before. I mean, in fact, that's what the dream of network marketing is that we can have this freedom and cultivate something that we've never experienced before at a level that we've only could imagine. And so taking this information will be great. The great thing about this is that the first week, chapter 1, week 1, which is core to the message of what we're going to do here with network marketing, and it's all about making the commitment. You have to be committed to something. And one of my good friends, leaders, I've been watching her. I won't use her name, but she says you must have a decided heart. And once you decide something, that's it. And that's what Tony Robbins talks about. It talks about the fact that you cut off from all other possibilities when you make a decision. You say this is the way it is, and you forget everything else. And so you have to make that commitment in your life. And I like to start out these webinars with quotes to kind of get us to start thinking differently. This one's by Howard Schultz. When you're surrounded by people who share a passionate commitment around a common purpose, anything is possible. In fact, everything that you have today, the fact that you're on a computer at home or on your phone watching this and listening to this is all because of somebody's passion and commitment to getting this technology out to people for an affordable price and connecting the world. Somebody had to have that great vision, and they had to be committed to it, because believe me, I'm sure, in the day it was, you start having the technology here in the US, and then all of a sudden it's like, what do you mean we have to do it in Asia and England and all these places that have different connections, different electricity, all this stuff, and there was always going to be issues. But when you're passionate and you're committed and you have a bunch of people that can support you, which is network marketing, then you can achieve anything. So that's the first quote. The second quote is the only limit to your impact is your imagination and commitment. Tony Robbins, a great mentor of mine, worked with him back in the 1999 to 2001, and what an amazing mentor he has been. And still is, with the information that he still provides to the day. He has stayed at the top of his game for 20 plus years, or even probably longer than that. So really amazing to have him be a part of that. And so I'm going to impart a lot of that knowledge and information that he shared with me along the way here. Now let's get into the book. Make the commitment. Week 1, chapter 1. You must start by taking the responsibility to lead yourself. And this is where 99% people fail, is they forget that it's not just about leading people. It's not about telling somebody what to do. It's about being the example and leading yourself to do the things that you're asking other people to do. Been thinking about it because, my son's 14 and he'll be driving here in a couple of years, and maybe even in a year and a half get his driver's permit. And I started to think this, like, okay, in the future, he's going to be watching how I drive. And so if I roll through a stop sign or if I speed, then he's going to think, well, of course it's okay because my dad does it. And the responsibility for me is about saying, you know what, I've got to stop and watch what I'm really doing in front of him, because he is like a sponge, and he will look at everything that I do and say, well, I should be able to do that because you do it, right? And that's just a natural way that a lot of teenagers and kids act, is they say, well, you're doing it, so I should do it. And then, of course, there's roles and, different dynamics there. So we're not going to get into the parenting part of it. Maybe if you want, comment in the comment section and let me know that you want a parenting one. And I'll work on that. All right. Number 2, you must self-review your lifestyle, your choices, your leadership style, and you. You have got to sit down and say, okay, who am I? What am I? How do I do things? And really figure out who you are. The majority of us are really just scared to look at ourselves and say, am I really responsible for the level of success that I'm at right now? And the answer is absolutely. And that's the most exciting part for me. When I was younger, of course, it was like, oh man, I'm the self-consciousness and the lack of self-esteem and all these things came, and then I realized, wait, if everything else was in somebody else's control, my success was in somebody else's control, then I'm screwed because I can't control other people. But when I realized it's within myself, it's who I am, that's what's most important. And I can control what I think and what I do and how I act and how I carry myself, then I realized it was under my control. And so I've kind of gone through my progress in life and with being an affiliate and being an executive. And you know what? It is your choice. You can make things happen for yourself if you work on yourself and you learn to lead yourself. But you have to self-review first. Your review, your values, your beliefs, all of these things you have to assess. You assess your traits, good and bad, because we also need to know what our bad traits are so that we can either find somebody else to fill those shoes, to help us get organized, or to help us train, or to help us, bring people in, something, like if you're not really good at it. And so you've got to look at the good and the bad. And then on the good things, you can accentuate those, you can enhance those, you can go and do webinars and train on those and learn more about what would make you extremely successful with those good traits. And then you recognize what you are passionate about, both personally and professionally. If you're not into the idea of nutrition, you're not going to do well selling nutritional products. Like if you're just a slob and you don't give a shit what you eat or take or whatever or put in your body, chances are you're not going to be able to look someone in the eye and go, you have to take this. Why? Because it's the best thing for you, when you won't even do it. Okay? There's a lot of things that you have to look at in order to be able to take your life to the next level. Why? Because if you do not know these things and how they affect your life, then you will never see how they impact your leadership, and they will never change. So again, we're doing this self-review and assessment to help us change. And if you're going to run from change, well then run from everything else too, because change is what keeps the human nature alive, and it's everything that we want. Because whenever you're seeking something, whenever you get excited about something, you're wanting change, you're wanting something different than what you currently have. That's what desire is. That's what excitement and passion is. It's all of that change that you're wanting to create or be a part of. So make the commitment that if you want more in life, then you have to be committed to changing some things about it, period. You've got to change some things. You can't continue to do what you've been doing and expect to get a different result. Like Einstein said, that's the definition of insanity. Now, when you are truly engaged in something, you naturally focus better and always achieve a greater outcome. So when you're truly passionate and engaged with something like nutrition or a service, like you really live it, you love it, that because you become more engaged, you find more time, you want to spend more time in that. So of course you're going to get a greater outcome. Now, when you are balanced, you feel like you're on fire and nothing can stop you. And so you need to find balance as well. You've got to force yourself, and this is where the disciplined leader really comes in. You've got to lead yourself to be the one that takes the breaks, that takes the walks, that exercises, that puts the right thing in their body, that thinks before they speak, doesn't be crass in their communication. Instead, they think thoughtful thoughts and what can we do to have a win-win communication here. They think of things of like, what's the goal in this? What's the process? What do we need to do? What questions do we need to ask? All of these things will come when you are balanced, when you understand that life is a wheel and you have to fill that wheel with each of those spokes. You've got to create that balance with spiritual and mental and physical and all the other things that go with it to create the success that you're looking for. Okay, and I get it. If you're struggling, if you're in survival mode, you've got to get yourself out of that. And the best way that you can do it is just realize that everything is perfect and everything is being done for you and your purpose and your journey in life. It is there to create who you become and who you are going to become in the future, way down the road, okay? Because we're all pulling from life experience. I have the experience. I was talking with a friend of mine today, and he asked me, could you do this? And I said, yeah, absolutely, not a problem at all. Why? Because I've done it before. I've done it many, many times over. And so just like that, you will get into that place where you realize that you are confident in a lot of different things that you're doing. And that too will help you make that commitment. When you are misaligned, you are prone to experience fear and failure, even disease. That is what disease is. It's dis-ease. It's when your body is not ease. Fear is that whole acronym of false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real, right? And then failure, there's truly no failures. There's just opportunities to see what works and what doesn't work. And I know what's going on in this book because I'm way ahead of you, because I've been doing some other stuff and I'm going back here and recreating these weeks. But I know that, the process comes where instead of focusing on your failures, you need to focus on your successes and replicate those successes in life. And so that's what we're going to be working on. Now, in his story about swim lessons in the chapter 1, because you should be reading this every week. In fact, the course of this is that you read the chapter, you watch the webinar, you read the chapter, and you read the chapter, read the chapter, read the chapter over and over daily until the next week when I post the next webinar. And then that way it'll sink in. It'll sink in because of what I'm sharing and my insights and my stories. And you'll also hear the book itself, and you'll be able to decipher more information that way. And it'll help you with the integration process, putting everything in place. So in his story about swim lessons and passing on to the next level, the moral is that sometimes failure the first time can push you to engage more the second time. And if I remember, the idea of this is that, if you fail at something, if it's something that causes to drive you to do even better, then that's a good thing. And then failure can be a good thing if you utilize it. If you allow it to beat you up and to take you down, that's not a good thing. But when failure is used to push you and cause you to become even more focused and engaged, that's a great thing. He also discovered the power of visualization. Like if you remember, he was visualizing himself crossing the entire length of the pool, okay? And so by doing that, and there's been studies on that where golfers and free throw shooters and basketball players have all visualized doing things a certain way, and their skill level actually improves, okay? If you could take just 1 minute before you made a phone call, a prospecting, and visualized how that call was going to go, or just kind of sat with it and said, okay, my intention for this call is that I'm going to engage with them, I'm going to connect with them, I'm going to really see what I can do to serve them, and I'm going to be there for them. No matter what they decide, I'm going to be happy and content because I had the opportunity to share with them. Like if you could do something like with that, when you called somebody up, you'd be in a totally different space rather than, oh my God, I've got to pay my phone bill this month, and if I don't make this sale, I don't know what's going to happen. Because then you're going to come out with a different energy. And so discover that power of visualization that he's talking about, where you just paint the perfect picture and then you step into it and you see what happens. Now, bottom line, you must make the commitment to change. You have to commit. You have to make that decision to say, you know what? I'm going to be committed. And the beautiful part about this, I've done this before. I get it, man. In the beginning, it's like rah, but really look at that, because most people don't make it. In fact, chances are you're not going to make it through this, because this is an advancement in leadership. And this is going to take some really focus and some time and energy. And it's funny because people will make me wrong about it when they miss, and they go, oh, because of this and that, right? And it's like, no, this is you. This is the story of you that are watching this and listening to this and hearing my voice. You're understanding that, you know what, it's time to change and you need to make a commitment. And this is a simple one. These webinars aren't going to be but more than 15, 20, 30, 45 minutes at most. And they're powerful and they're concise and they're very specific on what you need to do to incorporate them into your lives. There's even action steps at the end of each chapter. So it's simple. So what do you have to lose? Like, what are you afraid of? If you knew that you could not fail in this by watching this 52 weeks for the next 52 weeks, and you knew you couldn't fail, why wouldn't you do it? Now, when you're not mentally ready to make changes, you find ways to resist them, aka the story or the excuse, one of the things that we were just talking about. We will make up every type of story and excuse because we will validate the fact that we're not committed, or that we had something really show up, or that some other things came up. There's a lot of reasons why I wouldn't be doing these webinars, or why I shouldn't be doing these webinars, or why I shouldn't be focused on things that aren't necessarily making me any money, but they are making me better at what I do and who I am. And that to me is more important, because it's like Jim Rohn says, don't do something because of what you're going to make. Do something because of who you are going to become. And that's what you have to take on the energy for when you're out there building your organization, because there are a lot of times in network marketing, you're going to do things, you're going to spend a lot of time and energy on people, and you're going to get nothing out of it. But what it's doing is it's creating something within you that allows you to be committed, to make you that stays the course in your life, and that you can stay focused and not run away when things get tough. Why would you not fully commit to something that you are going to invest your time and energy and money into? Why not maximize your benefits? Same thing when you're talking with people that are prospects that want to do the business. Why would you not want to commit to something? If you're about to spend, several $100s on getting involved in this business, or even more, why wouldn't you want to commit to it? Why wouldn't you want to maximize your benefits, right? Now, what do you not realize is that if you show up again and then you drop off 2 weeks after or more, you're destroying your own belief about what is possible. So, don't make the commitment today and then not show up next week, because you will unconsciously be hurting yourself, because you just made a commitment that says, I'm going to do this, and then you don't show up, and then you start to feel guilt or shame or remorse or all these other things that come up for us, and they totally distract you from giving what you need to give and being committed. So don't make the commit unless you're ready. Let's assess your commitment level, okay? Number 1, be mentally engaged. You must be in a positive mindset to make changes. Adopt the it's time to change mindset. So here's what he's saying is that, don't make this if you're down and out right now, or if you're struggling, or if you're under a lot of stress. Don't commit under those circumstances. Don't commit under fear. Don't commit under doing a lot of things when you're not in the right frame of mind. Go for a walk around the block. Go for a walk through the park, and then meditate and sit still for 10 minutes before you make that commitment, so you can get really clear on what it is that you want to commit to. Number 2, be physically engaged. When you feel good physically, you have the ability to concentrate more and be more productive. So take care of your health. So go for a walk. Great guru of mine, Paramahansa Yogananda, said, you've got to walk every single day, 20 minutes, and work up a sweat. It causes your bodies to do things. And I know scientifically, the reason a lot of people become overweight, if you happen to be in weight loss, is because of thermogenetics, where your body doesn't have to work as much anymore, because we keep ourselves so confined and cozy in our houses and our cars and everything else, and we don't ever experience the elements. If you want to get your body back in it, walk outside when it's 32 degrees outside, and walk out with shorts and a t-shirt, and your body will go, oh my gosh, what's going on here? And it will cause your body to have to start burning energy, and that causes your thermogenetics to get engaged. Okay, everything's about being engaged, so be physically engaged. That's why the cryogenics, I've been talking to some people about that too, where you put your body into this extreme temperature changes, and it causes changes to happen in your body. It causes healing. It causes a lot of great things for your body to go, oh my gosh, it almost wakes it up like cold water in the morning on your face. Number 3, be emotionally engaged. You cannot control what happens around you, but you can control how you respond to it. Always choose the higher ground. There will be times where you want to get back at somebody, where you want to, be upset or be angry. And, I've always looked at it like this even with the kids, is that, is this going to matter in a year? Am I going to remember this moment in a year from now? And it will allow me to just kind of let go of that energy that I'm holding about it, that it needs to be this way, and just go with the flow. And, obviously if they're going to hurt themselves or they're going to hurt somebody else, you got to step in. But ultimately letting them figure things out along the way. And I notice this with my son, because I was told by somebody, another mentor of mine in some regards, he said, you can't occupy the same space as your son. And I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, if you're worried about his homework, he can't be worried about it because two things can't occupy the same space. And I said, interesting. And because I was getting emotionally engaged into the homework, but it wasn't my homework. He says, remove yourself and let him worry about it. And so I did that. And I said, I don't care. If you don't want to come home and do your homework, that's fine. I said, I'm willing to provide internet and electricity to kids that do well in homework, and explain that concept to him. And now, when he needed a tutor, I said, well, go to school and ask around and find out from your teachers who can tutor you. And he did that. And then, of course, I reached out to the tutor. It probably would have been okay for me to even let him do that, but I stepped in and did that one thing. It's being a father. And it got him a tutor. And I said, well, here's the schedule, and you guys work it out. And so his tutor comes over Tuesday on Thursdays. And it's great because I let them do their thing. And I can see the self-confidence in him because he's actually having to do things himself and work with somebody else, and somebody else is holding him accountable. Plus two, I'm not emotionally engaged in a negative way. I'm emotionally engaged in a positive way because I'm focused on the positive. And I'm allowing him to experience that. And so he becomes emotionally engaged because he feels better about himself. There's a lot of great things here when you can really teach and do these little things that we're talking about, even with your kids, because it will help you, because doing it with your kids is 10 times more difficult than doing it with regular people, because there's an emotional attachment there. So if you can practice with your kids, great. Do it with your kids and really help, and you will be passing on a gift to them that will change their life, and it will change yours as well, because you'll be a lot less stressed. So you must learn to manage your emotions when it counts. That's the other thing. With these commitments and creating an inward focus, you will begin the process to becoming a disciplined leader. So when you're making these commitments and you're creating this inward focus and not pointing fingers, because what's that thing? You point one finger and three more are pointing at you, which is the real issue, right? So the real issue is right, you. And for me, it's me. And so we have to take that on. And the moment that you take that, I think life changes drastically, because you're no longer a victim. And that's a big one for people to get out of, is that whole victim state where they feel like things are happening to them rather than things are happening for them. When they're happening for you, then you can say, okay, what do I need to look at? What do I need to see here? What do I need to change? What do I need to do for me? Not, oh my gosh, that person is totally screwing my life up and I can't imagine, I can't wait till they're out of it, kind of thing, right? There's a totally different energy to that. So commit to these 52 weeks like your life depended on it, in a fun way, okay? Not like you have to, steal and cheat to get here, but commit to these 52 weeks like your life depended on it, like it was going to take you to that next level in your life of leadership, to allow you to be able to engage with more people, to lead with more people, to experience life at a totally different level. I mean, who wouldn't want to be able to accomplish that? And it's not because of me, right? It's not because I'm doing the webinar series. It's about the commitment that you make to yourself, not to me, because I don't even know who you are. I don't even know what you are. I don't even know what it is you want to accomplish. I'm trusting that what you're here for is that leadership, that ability to kind of help people understand what it means to lead people. And that's important. Now, in the back of the book, or in the back of each chapter, there's 3 different action items. And these are really key. And from my mentor, Tony Robbins, taking action in that moment, right now, right here, is the absolute best way to create momentum in your life. And you will know it, because the moment that we take action, it's that time where we start to move forward and we start to create that change. So number 1, conduct a self-analysis of your life balance and identify the areas that you need to focus and commit on. And you need to really realize, do I work too much? Do I play too much? Do I watch TV too much? Do I not work out enough? Do I not exercise enough? And then you have to balance that out and say, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, then I've got to do this, and I've got to balance it out. Number 2, create accountability for improvement by having a disciplined leader buddy. Like if you're watching this webinar series, watch it with somebody that you love and care about, that you want to be a part of their life and they want to be a part of your life, to be able to take you to the next level. And then a written schedule and plan of action. That's always key. Write your things down, schedule your time, say this is the time I'm going to play, this is the time I'm going to work, this is the time where I'm going to sleep, this is the time where I'm going to grow, because there's all these different things that we have to do in order to create that structure. Then start a daily journal to watch your progress. If you don't track it, like T. Harv Eker says, another great mentor, if you don't track it, it won't grow. So if you're not watching what you're doing every single day and growing it, why do you think so many things like these Pokemon Go's and these games that are online are so addicting? Is because they have progress trackers, and people unconsciously want to grow. They want to get to that next rank, that next level, that next place. And it's the same thing in network marketing. People will do more for rank advancement than they will do to make money, because they want that recognition, because most of us didn't get it as kids. Most of us don't get it today. And so we thrive and strive for it in such a way that it drives people nuts, that we will do things for recognition rather than doing things for anything else. So start a daily journal and start giving that recognition to yourself and saying, here's what I did today, here's what I feel good about, here's what I need to improve on, and really start focusing on those things. Okay? Now, one of the things I started on some other webinars is pay it forward. So pay it forward by leaving a comment below on what you are most grateful for in your life today and what you learned from this webinar. Gratitude is something that's a hidden gift. It's not, tell me how great I am. It's about telling yourself, what are you thankful for in your life? And it's about putting that energy out there, because when you find yourself in a state of gratitude, that's when you're in the least amount of resistance in your life, and that's when things can come to you. And so I start my mornings out in my meditations. I do my gratitude, where I say, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful I woke up. Geez, thankful. And, and start that process of going through the gratitude of what I'm experiencing in that moment, what comes to thought. It doesn't have to be something specific. It just is something very clear on whatever comes through at that moment, and I can be grateful for it. Thank you for the opportunity to mentor. I am grateful for your leadership. Showing up is the first step, and so congratulations. I'm excited for you, and I look forward to seeing you next week.